Hello, everybody. So this is part 7 of my Scapholunate ligament reconstruction and recovery process. So we are now officially 6 weeks post-op from the date of surgery, and according to my doctor, everything's moving right along. So as of yesterday, I'll just do a quick recap in the last video. I was able to transition to a brace out of the cast much sooner than I thought I was going to be able to, which was really great. Just because the cast was so uncomfortable. But so I did find a little bit of reprieve the last couple weeks with the brace on. It still is, it still is swollen. It's swollen and it's stiff. It's sore. It's all those things that it kind of has been. But the doctor has kind of assured me that now that the pins are out, I should see a lot more improvement in a lot of those areas. So now I just kind of skipped over something. So as of yesterday, it was 6 weeks post-op. As of Friday, I'm sorry. Today is Sunday morning. As of Friday, it was 6 weeks post-op. I had a follow-up to go and get the hardware removed. So I now have 2 new little incisions here where they, cut open, expose the pins, and pull those out. So I did have the option to either go under anesthesia or do a local. I chose the local only because it's a whole other set of procedures and processes when you do go under anesthesia. And I was only gonna be on anesthesia for like 5 minutes. I didn't have anybody, I didn't want to start disrupting people's day to have to try to, take me. I had to go into New York City, which is, a little over an hour away from where I'm at. So, I didn't want to have people drive me and all that kind of stuff for 5 minutes, so I chose to do the local. So I'm not going to say that it was a mistake. I am going to say that it is an experience. You are essentially doing, you're participating in the entire surgical procedure. You're just awake. So, you got the whole surgical team in there, all the, you got the surgical techs, you got the assistants, you got the RNs, you got the doctor. You are in an operating room. I was laid out on the table. My hand is out. My hand was kind of through a curtain. I had a whole thing kind of shielding me, so I couldn't see him. But I could hear and see kind of everything going on. It was, it was really bright. You got all the lights in there. Wasn't mad at the playlist they chose. Had some nice little late '90s, early 2000s hip hop going on. So I wasn't too mad at that. But as far as that experience, it didn't hurt, but you do feel it because he came in, he numbed it when I was in the pre-op room. He came in, he put the local on, he numbed it. So I was probably about 40 minutes, let that really set in, and I really didn't feel anything. But you do feel the pressure of the pins being pulled out. So it is kind of like a hurts so good kind of deal. But you do realize my pins were, and what I want to do, I've never really been able to figure it out. I was trying to use a certain app to kind of put some clips of some other things and whatever. But at the end, I'll just kind of make a video just of all pictures of the different stages of the process. But the 2 pins that I had were probably about this. They were probably about the size of my pinky. Not width-wise, but length-wise. They were probably about the size of my pinky, and they went kind of all the way across. And I had 2. I had one going this way, and then one going this way, and they were kind of crisscrossed in there. And so they were both going through about 3 to 4 different bones, starting from over here. It went like 1 or 2 bones this way. This one went 1 or 2 bones that way. So as they were pulling it out, it's like I feel him kind of messing with it and easing it out, and then suddenly it's like kind of comes out, and there's this pressure that you feel it, but it doesn't necessarily hurt, but you feel it. You know what I mean? Because the bones itself don't get numb. Just the muscles and the tendons and the nerves get numb. So with that, following that, as that local anesthetic wore off, there was some pain yesterday. There was some soreness yesterday. I think just from the bones recovering from that trauma of having that hardware in there. But like I said, I had 2 pins in there, both probably about the size of my pinky. And now that I do have them out, automatically you'd be surprised, like this right here. What you see is probably 5 times what I could have done when the pins were in. The pins were in, those things were locked in place. So I am supposed to still have it wrapped up and wearing the brace and all that kind of stuff, but I needed it off for a second this morning when I woke up. So so as of now, I can start physical therapy, which I will need to make some appointments and start that off. And so the biggest thing where I was confused, where I was misunderstanding, is that I was thinking that a lot of the therapy would be here for the wrist. most of the therapy is going to be for the hand and the fingers, because this is still, not much past this and not much past that. Although since I've taken the pins out, that has improved. That range of motion has improved. I can go almost straight up, to this one, where when the pins were in, I probably couldn't get it past this. And then I can go, this is about the same in making the fist. The only difference is now, before when I had the pins in, specifically my ring and pinky fingers, if I got them too tucked into my hand like that, I started to feel this really, really intense pull and pain in these nerves and tendons going down my forearm this way. So in speaking to my doctor, he explained that all of the, because I'd asked him, I was like, why, if all the trauma was here to the wrist, why is it that the fingers are so affected? So all of the nerves, and I didn't think about this, basic anatomy class, I guess, all of the nerves that are running out of your muscles, going this way in your hands, that work your wrist, that work the wrist and work the fingers in the hand, all that was obstructed and interrupted by the trauma in the wrist area. So all the swelling and inflammation and all that stuff that happened there with the pins going in, those nerves were now hindered here, which is causing the swelling and the numbness here, which causes, swelling and the numbness here, and then just not really being able to flex it the way it should. So he said that now that the pins are out, I should see a pretty good improvement in that, as long as I'm still just doing that, moving and flexing them and making sure that range of motion can come back in. He gave me the few exercises I can do on my own, just really making sure that, individually kind of straightening it and, really, really tucking them under, kind of like that. The one thing I will say is that if I try to go past this too much, so one of the things I've been doing was kind of taking my fingertips on each finger and, pushing against, trying to really, really open it. My ring finger specifically, I still feel a pull if I try to get too far. So, it's going to be a slow process with the PT. But obviously there's going to be some things that you can do on your own outside of any PT sessions. So, but like I said, once I'm really glad to be at this point now, because once this is the part that I really, really want to document and put out there for anybody who's going to have the surgery or thinking about having the surgery or in the midst of it, whatever. Just because this seems to be the part that was kind of missed in all the accounts that I watched previously. Like I said, it would talk about the injury, did the surgery, about the first month post-surgery, and then kind of it skipped to the other side where it was like, all right, this is what my wrist looks like now, a year later. So I want to really get that process of what it looks like from the time now that I got all that hardware out until, and then moving forward. So I was really, really hoping to get some video of him taking the pins out. I actually had seen a video of a guy that was doing it. He was sitting there and somebody was videoing, and he's sitting there at a table like that, and the doctor was taking the pins out. But this was a much more official surgical. They treated it like a much more official surgical procedure. So, I don't know, every place does things a little bit different. But and I was not able to keep them either. I asked if my kids wanted to see them. I asked if I could keep them, but they said that technically it's since it's been inside my body, it's considered medical waste, and they have to discard it. So they did take some pictures of it, and they gave it to me, but I couldn't keep them as a little souvenir though. So. So as of now, this is kind of what it's looking like, comparatively, 6 weeks out. You see there's still just so much significant swelling here. My hand in general, is just the size and width of the fingers and all that. So this is, it's something to really, really prepare yourself for, if you're about to have this surgery or doing this. I do think that it is necessary. I don't think that you should let it go. I hope that anything that I've documented here hasn't kind of, turned people away from having the surgery just because of the process, because I do think you do come out better on the other side of it. But, it is something you're going to be really, really patient for. It is going to be, I think some of this PT and OT stuff that I'm going to have to do is going to be a little bit painful. Because like I said, just trying to get this motion back in my fingers like this, like that hurts, that I feel this pull in my hand right here, the base of my fingers and all that. So, you're going to have to just be patient, and you're going to have to take your time with it and just understand that the process is going to be the process. There's going to be some things that you might be able to do extra, you know, but I don't think there's any speeding up the process, if that makes sense. So, you know, overall, the doctor said that the alignment was really, really good. The new ligament really holds well. The space that was being created in there from the rupture is gone. Everything is really handled in line. So outside of that, everything looks good, and just kind of moving forward with it. And so yeah. So once I start PT, I think that you know, I'll do some things to show you guys what's you know, what the process is, what the progress is, and you know, we can just kind of go from there. You know, a little good glimpse of my scar there. It's a pretty decent one. But yeah, so 6 weeks today, everything's moving along according to the doctor. I have a follow-up next week, in a couple weeks, just to get stitches out, and you know, hopefully things are kind of just moving along by then. So I'll keep posting. I'll post some things of the PT, the physical therapy process for you guys, and hopefully it works out. So everybody, I'll see you guys soon.